We filmed shark people and taxidermists and the guy that breeds the most long-tailed macaque monkeys for medical research where we got COVID from. We're filming so many different subcultures of animal people and other people. And then you sort of hone in on something. And so the monkey mom thing became chimp crazy, and we started seeing a story there. So it's not like we just go out and just lock into something and there's a story. We have to kind of find it. And I would say this is not a good recipe for people that want to make documentaries. Like anyone starting out in life to try to make docs, don't do what we do because it's not a good way to get rich and it takes forever and you may never have a story. And so it's like...
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's like we got lucky that Joe Exotic tried to kill Calabaskin while we were filming. We got lucky in a sense that, and we got lucky he didn't kill her. And we got lucky in a sense that Tanya kidnapped a chimpanzee. This is not a recipe for success. We film. We do a lot of shit that no one ever sees.
Joe Exotic DMs me all the time on Instagram.
Oh, still, yeah.
He wants to get out.
There's a way maybe we can get him out. By the way, I'll tell you after the show. I'll tell you after the show.
Do you want him to get out?
The government made a deal with him before the trial. They said, you can do 6 years or you're going to have a trial. 6 years. He's been in jail now for 9 years or whatever it's been.
Right.
He would be out right now if he made that deal. He thought he was going to get off. And I was like, Joe, I was on the phone with him every day at the time from prison. I said, take the deal. I don't know. I'm not into throwing people in prison and throwing away the key forever.
Tanya's in jail too.
Right. We're good at that.
For perjury. I think she doesn't deserve to be there for 4 years, for perjury.
Well, she didn't need to kidnap another chimp.
Yeah.
We tried to help her, but she didn't. She was her own worst enemy. Anyway,
these people are obsessed.
Yeah.
I think also what attracts the crime element is the sentencing is low for wildlife trafficking, wildlife crime.
Well,
but did they really consider that when they're getting involved? Like, oh, no big deal, only do 4 years? Did they really think of that?
They keep going back to it. They keep doing it.
Yeah, but I think that's because they're obsessed. They're trying not to get caught. I don't think they're looking at it and balancing out the low sentence rate and going, this is a good thing to get involved in.
I think that
get involved in heroin. It's a pretty stiff crime.
I think it's a risk factor that's considered, and especially in the sense of like,
I think most of them, Jeremy, I think most of them think they're going to get away with it, or they're smarter than the feds.
But they have this sort of worst case thinking about if there was something to happen. It's 8 months at a camp.
Right.
They're
but
not
a lot of them go to prison multiple times. While we were filming this show, during the filming, we were shocked that one of the lead guys in our film was under investigation, being indicted. He didn't tell us. And then finally, he said, guys, I'm going to prison. And we don't cover it in the show because it was just too much. But we were like, what? You've been filming with us for 2 years and you're going to prison now? And then he finally got out of prison. We filmed him more and he's got an ankle bracelet. And he'd been to prison 5 years before that, or I don't know, 8 years before that. So there's a lot of...
What was he going to prison for?
This time for smuggling turtles that were going out to Asia. 3-striped mud turtles.
Yeah, we're no longer bringing wildlife in to buy and collect. It's actually coming out of our country into China.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What stuff are we exporting to China?
Well, a lot of it's, Eric, the one recently that happened.
I just took in a confiscation 3 weeks ago of 300 three-toed box turtles that come out of the central part of the U.S., Oklahoma, Missouri. And 2 weeks later, a guy was busted coming into Mexico with turtles, and I took those turtles from U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So animals are coming into the country out of Mexico, different countries, and then we're exporting now, which is new in the last 10 years, a lot of native turtles and reptiles and other wildlife to Southeast Asia and Europe.
And how are they getting there?
It's mostly air cargo, carry-on. This particular confiscation 3 weeks ago, they busted the guys with more box turtles in their luggage once they got to Hong Kong and China. Like I said, China, Taiwan,
a lot of socks,
Malaysia,
socks.
Jakarta. The reptile industry is enormous for now keeping them as exotic pets. Enormous. I mean, it's in Asia, like the bird world, the birds are called the cut flowers of the wildlife trade in Asia because, like we might have a bouquet or a plant in our house, they have a bird cage in Southeast Asia. And there's something like some insane statistic about how many people have a bird in their house. And when you go to the bird markets in Jakarta, it's just surreal. Or in Thailand, there's one in Bangkok called Chattachat Market. These huge, animal markets. We talk about where COVID came from, but the scale of these animal markets, bush meat, wildlife, it's on a scale that's beyond your imagination.
So
where you actually
what
see
kind of what are they selling? Like
they're selling reptiles, they're selling birds.
for meat?
No, these are for pets.
Okay.
The birds are ornamental in your house. You have a songbird, you have an owl, you have a whatever. You can't believe there are people that are.
So they just have like a wildlife mall.
It's effectively like an enormous wildlife mall.
An outdoor mall.
Yeah.
Wow.
And within that mall, there's also seafood. And then there's the reptiles, and then there's the birds. It's like messy. No wonder maybe COVID came from that. It's
COVID
like,
didn't come from that.
I don't know if
It came from a fucking lab.
I think you're maybe right. I have a friend, bless his heart, he's a good friend of mine. He said it was a zoonotic disease. It didn't come from a lab, but now I'm beginning to think it might have come from
I think
a
a
lab.
lot of people were influenced to say that it was a natural spillover because they didn't want to admit that we were fucking around with gain of function research.
I think the evidence now shows that it may have
pretty
come
clearly.
Yeah.
But also,
I
it
agree.
seems like if you see these kind of these markets,
Yeah.
you would say, what is this right here, Jamie?
Chattachat.
Kind of market.
Which one is this?
Oh, this is one of those markets?
Yeah, Jakarta.
I've been to these markets in Jakarta, yeah.
And it's just a wildlife market. And so it's all pets. So what is it about Asia that has such a desire for animals?
Yeah, those
like
are
this
the
for
Harry
pets?
Potter. Those are the Harry Potter owls. That footage is when,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like
Status, wealth, same things in the U.S. that were driving the U.S.
But it's
also
more
cultural.
common in Asia?
Well, in China alone, there's over 1 billion people, so there's just more people, and and the scale and the size of Asia and China is much bigger than the U.S. and Europe combined. So they have a bigger market, and the climate's pretty good to keep exotic animals like Florida. So it's like on steroids, the collectors in Asia.
And why I think that the industry, the trafficking number is so underreported is, you have there's like one person that is responsible for coordinating in the U.S. One person, she's in Delaware, who's responsible for coordinating with U.S. Fish and Wildlife to deal with, these placements of confiscated wildlife, if they're able to even detect them. I think it was something like 10,000 animals in the last few years were coming through LAX, basically the Torrance, the border, and LAX.
It's very
one little sample market.
It's very understaffed, undermanned to be able to manage all the wildlife coming in and out of the country. There's not enough.
Even with dogs and detection advancement, they're finding ways to get animals out. And then the sad truth is that they've been starved and dehydrated. Recovering them is impossible. You've gotten lucky with rewilding animals back into New Jersey and stuff like that through his organization, but it's a harmful reality that it's actually still happening.